Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Prep Report. Rich Estrella, along with Bob Gibson, Mo Orr, Randy Rosen will be joining us with the city section update just a little bit. But week 4, gentlemen, exciting times, baby.
Exciting.
Well, this is where it kind of starts to come into focus a little bit.
Yep.
That's the nice part. It's all coming into focus.
Well, we'll see how much in focus it is. Before we start with our top 10 and let you know how the upper echelon is doing, we're going to introduce the No Love Club tonight.
We're going
right?
back. We're going back,
This is
aren't
for
we?
Prep Sports Night Live. We should do this
Yeah.
segment. People love this segment because we are now giving love to everybody.
We're going
all
back.
right?
You so loving.
All right, now, No Love Club basically are teams that are good teams, but they never get any ink because they're not a big parochial school or whatever. But anyways, there you see Catella at the top of the No Club.
Knights.
Nobody knows about Catella, Bob. Last year they were runner-up in the state C.I.F.
I was
championship.
just going to say, man, they're building off the chance to play for a state title a year ago. Whoever thought Catella would be playing for a state title? Well, the folks over in Catella thought they would be, and they're capitalizing on that again. Another 4-0 start. I love seeing the Knights get up there. This is a good thing for Orange County football, seeing some different names like Catella being there.
I'll tell you, Bob, I heard word on the street is Catella wanted to play Mater Dei and Bosco this year, and they still won't play them. They're afraid of Catella.
Mater Dei's afraid, man. They won't do
Right,
it.
I'd be afraid of them
They wouldn't
too.
do
They have, listen, those schools have nothing to gain by playing a school like Catella, all right? So I wouldn't play them either. Anyways, going down, Bellflower's on this list. Woody Grayson turned that program around. They were 4-6 last year. They've shut out their last 3 opponents in a row. In a row.
That'll work.
Who does that?
Not many.
Bellflower does.
Not
all right.
many.
All right, Big Bear last year, of course, another runner-up in the state, won C.I.F., 3-0 on the season. Big Bear takes on all comers, and they beat everybody, man. And here they are. And this isn't like they're number 3 in the No Love Club, but you know there's 7 schools here, and they're all equally loved. Dave Griffith's done a good job, and Big Bear's in the No Love Club. Let's go to Garfield, the only city section school to make this list. Hey, Lorenzo Hernandez got them 4-0. They're just cruising along. They're just waiting for that Roosevelt game.
I'm about to say they are preparing for Roosevelt.
Darn right.
4-0.
They've been preparing for that since last year's Roosevelt-Garfield game, all right? We got plans on televising that game this year.
The East LA Classic.
That's it. Go down to South Hills now in the West Covina area, 3-0. Another team that does well year-round. In a lot of sports, they get no love. How come?
I don't know why, because they're
All
good
right.
in a lot of different things. You're right.
I'm just telling you.
South Hill's a really good school in a lot of different sports.
Yes.
South Hill's legit.
Now we got Cathedral. Now, if Cathedral was in any other division, I mean, they would be number 1 in everything. They have, what, 4 Division I schools on their schedule. They've already beaten like 2 of them. They've got 2 Division II schools. They take on all comers, and they beat all comers. This is a team on this list I think would be at the very top.
And don't forget, Bryce Young, the quarterback at Mater Dei, was at Cathedral the last 2 years. Went over to Mater Dei. And
Why do you think they
ripping
don't
it
get
up.
no love? If they played teams like the Mater Deis and the J. Sarris, the Trinity League outcasts.
They play everybody and anybody. They don't
how about
duck
the
anybody.
swordsman down at the bottom there?
Well, St. Paul, the swordsman, 4-0 this year. You know what I like about St. Paul? This is the little school that can. Not only were they national champions back in the 60s a couple times and were legendary in the 70s, the fact that this school's only got 275 kids in it, and they're beating schools 20 times their size. That's what you got to love about St. Paul.
Doesn't Marion Ansich did it for years over there?
Well,
at St.
yeah,
Paul.
but Ansich played that head game. He knew how to win games even before he got to the stadium. The other team was already beat. Let's face it. Hey, it happens, man. It just happens. All right, let's go into the top 10 now. Look at the upper echelon of what's going on. And nothing changed. Everybody won last week. Mater Dei won, Bosco, Corona, Orange Lutheran, Mission, everybody won. Even Oaks won. And I'm more sold on Oaks this week than I have in the previous 3 games
I was gonna
because
say.
it's just getting worse for everybody. Whoever they play, the scores are getting up there. Maybe we ignited them last week, too.
I don't know. Oaks at 7 feels a little light to me. I mean, I think I'd move Oaks above a couple of those.
Really?
I
I want to
wouldn't
know
get
who.
crazy
Who
yet.
would you
I
move them up against?
Bob,
I-
you're
I-
going off on the wrong tangent now because the
no.
record of the teams they played isn't that impressive
I
except
don't
for
care.
Alameda.
Oaks is impressive. Oaks is impressive right now. I'd slot him in just above Mission Viejo.
Why don't you just
for
put
my
them up
Oh.
on Mater Dei? Put them right up there with Mater
Number
Dei and
one.
Bosco. They'll kill
Vie-
them, Bob.
Mission Viejo beat Santa Margarita. That's a big win. That's a win against a Trinity opponent. I got it. But I don't know.
I don't know what the good thing about it. We don't
Well,
have
if you don't know,
one
hold
A's.
on. If he doesn't know, why is he going to put him up, Mo?
I don't know. He
No,
wants to
no,
put him up
I
now.
do know. I do
I
know what
don't
I would.
know.
I do know what I would do.
I don't know. I don't know what
But
I've been told.
other people are in charge of this, not me.
All right,
So, you know.
it's all good.
All right.
All right, Sarah J. Sarah Servite. That runs it. Nobody lost, man. What do you want from me?
They all won.
You know, what can we do, right? You guys
all
got anything
won.
else to
Most
say
of
as we
them won
close
big,
out
too.
the top 10 for the week, fellas?
Nope, nobody moves.
Nobody moves, man. Nobody moves.
It's all right. It'll
And
happen.
it's interesting for week 4 because people are out there playing people, man. They really are. I
Big
mean,
names.
Oaks Christian played Almania. They're both undefeated last year. I mean, people are out there playing. You know, Narbonne Centennial mixed it up. I mean, people are out there playing right now. It's not like you're in your league, you know, already kind of knowing what's going to go on. You know, this is some crazy stuff.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead, man. Ask Mo. Don't ask me.
Modern Day's got a bye this week, and they play IMG.
Yeah.
What if Modern Day loses to IMG? Will we see Modern Day drop down?
No, you can't
will
see
the
Modern
top
Day drop
10
there because
voters
this
drop
game.
them?
This game, we're going to talk about it. It's an exhibition. It's not a real game, Bob.
All right.
It's a real game to
It's a-
IMG
it's-
and
yeah,
Modern
yeah,
Day.
you got that right.
But to
Yeah, yeah,
everybody
right.
else out
It's an
there,
exhibition.
To the voters.
Means
It's
nothing.
an exhibition. Yeah, it's
got
not
you.
going to change anything.
I got you.
And you know, I got to hand it to IMG. I mean, they can't get a lot of games. They got to you know, play whoever play them. But you know, they're out there on the road a lot. They're
They have a
playing.
nice, healthy
they're playing some
schedule.
people. They do.
They have a nice
They got about 3 top 5 teams in the 10
yeah.
teams in the country that got to play. But that's the only those only guys you can play. It's a
Because nobody
factory,
else will
Bob.
play them.
That's right.
Nobody else will play them.
We'll put together a team here at the SoCal Prep Report, and we'll play them.
Absolutely. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I know, it's going to be fun.
It's still up ahead. We
It's
got a little ways
going
to
to be
go.
a lot of fun the next couple weeks.
Modern Day does have a bye this week. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Right now, I guess we're going out to the desert. I guess Carlos Pena.
Hey,
He's finally.
Carlos.
man.
Man, why are you acting like that? You just
love
saw a
it.
freeze from a
'Cause
minute
I
ago. You guys
love
were laughing your
Carlos.
heads off
I love
about
seeing
the
where
guy.
Carlos is out there. We've seen Carlos, man, freezing his
All right.
rear end off sometimes.
Not yet.
It's good to see Carlos.
300 degrees out where he's at. He's in a Speedo. Let's go to Carlos Pena with this report.
Hey guys, thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Folks, welcome to SoCal Prep Report, High Desert Football. What better way to get it started than when Victor Valley taking on Apple Valley. Now last year, the Bell Classic, Apple Valley kept the bell. We'll see if they can do the same thing this year. They still have their quarterback, Jeff Widener, who took them undefeated into playoffs. Unfortunately, they didn't even win a championship, but still, they have the majority of their starting lineup back this year. And they're just picking up right where they left off. Let's take a look at the action. And Apple Valley's 6'2", 185-pound quarterback, Jeff Widener, rolls out and squares his shoulders for this 51-yard pass to number 10, Chad Smith, for the touchdown. Victor Valley, 0. Apple Valley, 6. On the very next play, Apple Valley's Mackenzie Lopez went short. Apple Valley recovers. That led to this Apple Valley 3-yard run by number 28, Donovan Ferguson, 12-0 Apple Valley. On the very next kickoff, Victor Valley greatly underestimated Mackenzie Lopez as she delivered a booming kick, keeping Victor Valley back. On the very next play, linebacker Jesse Griggs makes a big hit, causing a fumble. Apple Valley recovers. Jeff Widener rolls right for this 5-yard pass to none other than number 42, Jesse Griggs, for the touchdown. Apple Valley 19, Victor Valley 0. With 4 minutes left in the first quarter, Apple Valley's Ian Scott picks this screen pass from the air and returns it for a 28-yard touchdown. 26-0 Apple Valley. Another short kick from Mackenzie Lopez, and Apple Valley once again recovers. Jeff Widener wastes no time with his 40-yard pass to number 13, Smith Tyron. Apple Valley going for the 2-point conversion, and Jeff Widener decides to take it in for himself. 35-0. Victor Valley finally saw the end zone with a short run from number 9, Nehasi Moala, 35-7. Jeff Widener and company came right back with this connection to number 1, Xander Witt, 56-7 at the half. 6'2", 185-pound senior quarterback Jeff Widener already has a total of 952 passing yards, 16 touchdown passes. Final score for this game was 76-21 Sun Devils. Let's take a look at one of the smaller schools in the high desert as Excelsior takes on New Design Watts from Los Angeles. As we join them in the second half, and Excelsior already with a big lead over Watts, 40-6. Quarterback Joseph Zamora linking up with his receiver for a touchdown. Going for the 2-point conversion, Joseph Zamora takes to the outside. Fourth quarter action, and Eli Burgess runs to the 10-yard line, putting the Eagles in good field position. He got the call right away as he ran it in for the touchdown. On the very next play, Eagles go for 2 points, and Joseph Zamora takes it in. Eagles finish this with a win, 56-6. Now let's take a look at the High Desert top 5, and I have Big Bear up top. The defending Division 12 champs are not scared to come down the hill in any direction to meet a challenge. Paris, 29 Palms, Laguna Beach, Nuevo, Rialto, Boron, Arcadia, Oro Grande, Yermo, and Victorville. You name it, they have a championship and they will travel. Number 2, Adelanto. This year's Cinderella story is all about Adelanto. Last year we had Silver Valley, but the Saints are also not afraid to travel. Hesperia, San Bernardino, a big win over La Puente and Cerritos. They now have their eyes set on Fountain Valley and El Harbor before taking on the Desert Sky League. A win over Fountain Valley will prove just how good they are. Number 3, despite having the best quarterback in the High Desert, the Sun Devils really have not played anyone outside their comfort level. They need to go down the hill and play someone. I have them at number 3 spot. Granite Hills is bringing up the 4 spot, and later on they look to take out number 2, Adelanto. Serrano picking up the last top spot in the High Desert. Gentlemen, that's it for this week's High Desert Football Report. Back to you in the studio. And Bob, maybe I can get you to come up here for a game. Hey, coffee's on me.
5, 4, 3.
Thank you, Carlos Pena. Carlos will be bringing us the high desert, the low desert, the medium desert, the dry desert. Bringing us all the desert action, all right? Because it's a long way from here, right? I'm certainly glad he's up there. He'll be freezing his butt off as the season goes along. And we like that. We love that. All right, joining me now, before we go to the City Section Report, I'd like to remind you tonight's show is sponsored in part by the Yard House in Brea. If you haven't been out there yet, you need to get out there. There's all kinds of great stuff going on. That's the Yard House of Brea, sponsored by the KM3 Project. That's one of our favorite charities out here. KM3 Project helps people live with their cancer. Might pay a few bills for you, but if you're out there and you're charitable, that's where you need to go. Also sponsored in part by the Jerky Zone. Jerky Zone, big fundraiser out there for sports programs, and it's just a good product. Also sponsored in part by One Way Plumbing and Heating of Santa Fe Springs. All right, joining me now, Randy Rosenblum, and Randy has a city report. And Randy, before we get into it real quick, Narbonne Centennial, man, it's going to be a couple more weeks, I think, before Narbonne starts pulling away from everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rich. I think this is a very talented Narbonne team, but their schedule is very, very grueling. And that's one of the reasons they're 1-3. The win, a good win over Palos Verdes, which is a competent unit. But the other 3 losses are to great Southern Section teams in Southern California, plus a game at St. Louis and Honolulu.
St. Louis and 2 of their losses. One was to St. Louis, ranked number 3 in the country, and Corona Centennial, ranked number 7. So quality opponents, Randy.
Also, you look at that list. Dorsey at 0-3, new coach Doug Bledsoe. I think he's going to get it done there, but it's going to take some time. Crenshaw's really 1-3 on the field. Like Mater Dei, they forfeited a game. And Carson just got its first victory of the year. They have an outstanding defense. Look for the Colts to improve as the season goes on.
And of course, Narbonne, as we talked about, I'm very confident once they get into league play, they're going to be the best team of that league.
Yeah, they've dominated the Marine League for years. Most of the games in the Marine League, even though there's competent units like Carson and like a San Pedro type of team, have been running clocks. Narbonne has completely destroyed their opponents in league play, which has helped them go on to 4 consecutive city titles.
Now, if they win this year, Randy, they tie the all-time record for schools, or is it just Coach Douglas that moves up the rung, having the most championships as a LA City Section
You're
coach?
close on both accounts.
Okay.
Coach Douglas would go to 9. That would tie him for the most ever. The team still got a ways to go. It would be their 5th consecutive championship.
That's what it is. 6
by Bannies, the all-time record back in the good old days in the 70s.
Yeah, it's funny how things changed quite a bit, because it was always, Crenshaw, Dorsey, and now it's Narbonne's pretty much had the flag for a bit.
Yeah, they've been the dominant team. You know, there's some teams that are still doing well in the Los Angeles City section. I put a list of 8 teams up that are doing exceptionally well. They're all undefeated. Animal Robinson's an 8-man team. They have the longest streak in the city section, 15 in a row. Saragossa, their quarterback, is phenomenal, probably a D2 talent. Canoga Park's a big surprise, grueling ground game. Thought everybody would struggle with them. Canoga Park has been much better than advertised. They are very talented. They have a receiver who's outstanding. Eagle Rock, very good team, have been strong for a long time. They're 4-0. Franklin has Alfred Bobadilla, a tremendous quarterback. Garfield can really pound the ball, play excellent defense, will probably go into the Roosevelt game undefeated down the road. Palisades only allows 5 points a game, 2 shutouts in their first 4 games. Reseda is a very competent team with a great running back in Derek Bird, a freshman. And Westchester has a terrific quarterback in Carter who threw for 7 touchdowns. They've been the underdog 3 out of 4 games, but they've won them all.
Who's the best of that group, Randy, do you think?
That group, it's really hard to say. Maybe Reseda. I think Reseda's got a good team. And there you see they match up with Canoga Park this week. That's the feature game in the Valley. Again, 2 teams 4-0 that you might not have predicted at the beginning of the year. Maybe Reseda, certainly not Canoga. Venice, I think, is dangerous. Great passing attack with Luca Diamant. Chad Johnson, Ocho's kid, is tremendous on the outside. But Newberry Park's a very good Southern Section team. They got to travel to Newberry Park out in the 805. That won't be easy. And, of course, Narbonne, another tough assignment, having to play at Sarah Gardena.
Yes, indeed. It's never easy. Again, Sarah they may have started a little slow this year. They're 2-1. Normally we see them out the gate, man. They're undefeated until they get in that league. That was a Mission League or whatever. But they're so far so good. One loss. It was to Cherry Creek.
Sure.
I don't even remember. I think it was Arizona or something. But anyways, you can't really measure it. But I think Sarah's pretty darn good team. We'll see what happens this week. Narbonne showed a lot of heart, Randy. A lot of schools would have folded early on after the way. Narbonne actually shot themselves in the foot against Corona Centennial. It was only at 42-23 games, but darn it, Randy, they had nearly 100 yards in penalties in the first half. Maybe they did have it over 100 yards in that first half.
Well, that's a little bit of their mentality, Rich. I mean, Narbonne always is a very physical team. You'll see the city teams get very physical, and thus they pick up a lot of penalties, which has hurt Narbonne in the past.
Right.
Against city schools, they're able to overcome it when you're playing Corona Centennial, who they scrimmage a lot.
Right.
The coaches, Logan and Douglas, good friends, so they know each other well. But when you make those kind of penalties, those mistakes against Corona Centennial, you're going to lose. One last shout out to Matt Castle. Here's a city kid from Chatsworth, still in the NFL, 14 years, came off the bench the other night in a mop-up role for the Lions. Here's a guy, no one thought he'd make the NFL. Nobody thought he'd play at SC, and he was a tight end. And here he is 14 years later, still in the National Football League.
The amazing thing is, wasn't Matt Castle the one that was a backup and never played, he never started a game?
No, they moved him out to tight end at USC. In fact, he led Chatsworth to an LA City lower division championship, and he would really hit you in the secondary.
Right.
He was the starting quarterback on the Chancellor football team, but he would hammer you coming out of the secondary. Matt Castle, really a terrific career considering what he was thought of originally.
That's a great story if you think about Matt Castle. Again, going to USC as a backup, and has it been that long? 14 years already?
14 years. You got to go back to 2005.
Yes.
He was drafted by the Patriots. I think it was in like the 7th round.
Right.
So he's really held on and really carved out a beautiful career for himself.
Played behind, I think, 2 Heisman Trophy winners. That's why he couldn't get into the starting lineup, which is fine because it still paid dividends for him.
And then he played behind Brady.
Good for him. Good for him. All right, Randy, thanks for the report. Appreciate it, man. We'll see what happens this week, man. City section, a lot going on. Things are going to change. You can't really read a lot into the preseason. You can't read it because once they get into league, it all changes. It all changes. You just have to win your league. Doesn't matter. In the pre-league, you can lose all your games. Just win league.
Just win league. Get ready for the playoffs and go on. And that's why Narbonne still is the overwhelming favorite in the LA City section.
To steal a quote from Al Davis, just win league, baby.
Yeah, just win league.
Just win league. All right. Let's check out the national scene. Let's look at the top 10. All right, let's take a look at the national top 10. Modern Day still at the top. Yeah, they're 3-1, but that loss was just a little clerical error. They face IMG Academy. They had a bye week this week, so Modern Day gets to relax and wait for the Academy. St. John Bosco beat Paramount 56-12. Basically, they play Chaminade this week. Not going to be much of a challenge. Bosco will not have a challenge till October 12th when they meet Modern Day. St. Louis of Hawaii, they're going to pillage the Hawaiian Islands because that's all they have left. They're stuck at number 3 right now. We have St. John's of the District of Columbia, which is Washington, D.C. They beat Central Miami 37-35 in a wild 5-overtime game. They face IMG Academy this week. St. Francis of Maryland, they're at number 5, but these guys might get dropped out of the top 10 soon because checking on their schedule, they played nobody in the top 100, and they have nobody in the top 100 remaining on their schedule, so I don't know how they got up that high, but people love them. St. Thomas Aquinas, number 6, they're 3-0. They have Central Miami this week. What's your problem, Bob? You got something to say about this?
That's Mo's team.
All right,
Aquinas.
all right.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Thomas Aquinas.
I was just
All right.
Mo.
Allen, Texas in the number 7 spot. They also have played nobody in the top 100. You could see their numbers drop despite them winning because, come on, man. I mean, modern day Bosco, St. Louis, everybody's playing ranked teams, and you're not. Corona Centennial, of course, number 8. They're 4-0, followed by De La Salle and Colquitt County, Georgia. De La Salle plays everybody every year. We're going to give them a pass this year. And Colquitt County, Georgia has a couple of teams in the top 100 nationally on their schedule. Look for them to move up at some point in time.
Rich, do you know, I think if I was in the top 20 and wanted to get into the top 10, I would change my first name to Saint.
You probably should. See all the Saints in there?
Not a bad idea.
You saw that?
Right?
A lot of Saints
Not a
in
bad
there,
idea.
baby.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. It's just how it is, man. What are you going to do? All right.
Speaking of Saints,
Matchups this week. We already told you Mater Dei will not be in this. So we have St. John Bosco and Chaminade. It's kind of like I said earlier, fellas. I don't see Chaminade having much of a chance in this game, and Bosco will not be challenged till they play the Monarchs in a couple of weeks. Right, Bob?
absolutely. No, Bosco in a walk away in this one. Chaminade's a decent program, but they're not Bosco.
You're just going to say they're just a decent program,
They're a
Bob.
good
That's what you're
program.
going to go with that.
This is not a great year for Chaminade right
All
now.
right.
So 2-2. Chaminade's obviously a very good program, but come on, this is not one of your typical great Chaminade years. Bosco in a walk away.
Well, they win 50% of their games, and
That's right.
This could be a game where they go over 500. I doubt it, but St. John Bosco,
Go ahead, make that prediction.
I'm gonna say probably about 55 to 22. St. John Bosco.
They're going to score. You think Chaminade's going to
She
score
scored
22 on Bosco?
Well, yeah, St. John Bosco will probably play their fourth string, fifth
All right.
string
All right.
juniors.
He's got. I
Okay.
just thought of that when I
Freshmen.
said
Could
it.
be.
Yeah, right. All
Could
right.
be.
All right. Valley View taking on Centennial Corona. Now, if you think this game's going to be a cakewalk for Corona, I got to tell you, they beat Drupa Valley 84-0. Now, all I got to say is I don't know why any coach would allow his team to score 84 points on a defenseless team. But karma is a you-know-what, and it may come back in the form of Corona Centennial this week because I don't think Valley View matches up very well with Corona.
No,
So, I mean,
nobody matches up with Centennial
84
very well,
points,
right?
Bob.
That's a pretty good whooping.
It's like 70, no, it was actually like 40-something to nothing at halftime, but it was 84-0. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Marietta Valley taking on Oaks Christian. We talked about these two schools. Oaks Christian has just pretty much beaten up everybody, and after last week's spanking of Almany, I think they're for real now, fellas.
I agree with you. I think Oaks will be moving up the top 10 list.
We're always
pretty quick.
skeptical of new coaches coming in, which
That's
happened
true.
over there, especially when there's an uproar going on, but they seem to be fine. Fine indeed.
For now.
By the way, we didn't
what
get your prediction on that, did we?
Oh, that's a easy. Come on, you already know. I don't need to say anything. Oaks Christian will win that game. It'll be a walk away, 10-7.
10-7, huh?
7.
It'll be a walk-away.
Offensive
You want to back
juggernaut
that
there.
up? I want to see that. Let's
That's
see
gonna
that
be
again.
a defensive.
Back it up once.
That will be a defensive football game.
10.
Are you sure? 10-7?
Yeah, 10-7.
All right.
All right. Well,
All
I'm
right.
not listening in the truck, so we'll just keep going.
Let's
All
go
right.
back
You got
here.
Heritage and Orange Lutheran. Heritage is a tough team,
That's
but
true.
they're not the size of Orange Lutheran. Orange Lutheran checks in at number 20 this week in the national rankings. And I don't care how good Heritage is, they're not as good as Orange Lutheran.
No, too many athletes at Olu. They'll
think
win this
so,
one.
Bob?
Yeah, just too many athletes there. They'll win this one fairly easily, I would
All right.
guess.
Yeah, walk away. Orange Lutheran wins line of scrimmage on both offensive defense. That'll be 42-12, Orange Lutheran.
42-12?
All right.
Might be. I
Now
could
we
see
get to
that.
the big one.
All right, Mission Viejo versus Upland. Okay, Mission Viejo coming in. They're undefeated, 4-0. They average 30 points a game. They allow 15. They beat La Habra 28-14. All right. Now Upland is coming in at 3-0. They average 31 points a game, which is one more point than Mission Viejo. They only allow 9. They're very staunch on defense, and they beat La Habra 24-12. I don't know what you're going to read into that. All I can tell you, based on those numbers, this game is dead even. This might be the obviously it's going to be a very tough challenge for Mission Viejo just to walk over these guys the way they have walked over everybody else. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm going to say
My
this
brothers.
is going to be a good one because Bob and I have been talking off camera
Yes.
about this game right here specifically. I'm going to give you the chance.
You wanna
Oh,
go
yeah,
first?
yeah, because I have a good one.
Mission Viejo 34, Upland 20.
Wow.
34-20?
34-20 Mission Viejo.
They haven't scored 34 points all game, all season. So what I'm going to tell you is this here.
34-20.
Mission Viejo is looking forward to playing Orange Lutheran. They're going to get creeped on this week.
Ooh.
They're going to get creeped on this week. Upland will win. I'm not going to give you a score, but they're going to win by 6 points this week.
All right.
Let's go, Upland. I see you.
6-0, huh?
That is
It might be 6-0.
that is wild. Mo actually said that.
Right.
You realize how evenly matched these teams are.
I do.
right.
But sometimes you play the game before you're supposed to get to that game.
All right.
So
Michigan's had a lot of good games, but again, 28-14, 24-12. That's our benchmark right there. They
got
both
it.
played La Habra. They both played them tough. And you got to give it to La Habra because look who they're playing. They
Yeah,
may
right.
be 0-4, but everybody they're playing is a champion of some kind.
The Harbor Ducks, nobody. They play
Yeah,
everybody.
they do. Frank Mazzota will do that, man. He's out of his mind. He's pulling what's left of his hair out right now, too, with these games. He likes to win, too. All right, let's continue on and see what else we have down there. We have, of course, coming up, Servite Villa Park. This is a good game because
that is a good game.
Villa Park is playing everybody and anybody as well. And, Servite, we'll see what happens. Servite has been in the doldrums. They've been at the bottom level so long in that Trinity League, but this year they seem to be climbing out, undefeated to
Well,
this
Troy
point.
Thomas has brought back the swagger a little bit at Servite, but I like what Villa Park does. I always like Villa Park. Deuce and Ansich does a nice job
He does.
over there every year.
Certainly
and he's always
does.
got that team fired up. I think Servite wins a very close one, 21-16.
Oh, wow. That's Villa Park's going to win this game. It'll be a nice little close game, just like he said, Villa Park by 4.
Think so?
Oh, yeah, I know so. I'd have to
All right.
Wouldn't
If you
surprise
say
me.
so.
Wouldn't
I
surprise
wouldn't
me.
be surprised either because, again, until Servite actually, gets in that Trinity League and does some damage, the reputation behind them is scary because of the league they come from, but they may not be as scary as
No,
the
it's going to be it'll be a wake up call for Servite come Trinity time.
All right.
So
we'll have a
see
quick
about
look. Did we talk about Narbonne, Sarah? I talked about that with
Yeah, you
Randy.
talked about that
Yeah.
with
Real
Randy.
quick, I don't know who's going to win that game. Narbonne's pretty good, guys. They just ran into a buzzsaw last week. And don't forget, they did play St. Louis of Hawaii, and they're number 3. I mean, I don't think anybody could compete with those guys. Those guys are really good.
I think
telling
Narbonne
you.
gets well here this week. I think Narbonne wins this one.
Well, we'll see
fairly
what happens.
easily. I'll take
I wanna say-
Narbonne.
I'll
And
take
then,
Narbonne.
who are you picking in this one here, Mo? Just for the record.
For Narbonne and Sarah, I would take Narbonne.
All right.
We saw a pretty good
I'll
team
let it
last
go.
week. They had a tough start.
Paraclete St. Paul. That's a nice matchup too.
Isn't that Paracletti?
Paracletti?
Paracletti, baby.
Paracletti.
Paracletti. They're going to walk away with
Paracletti
this.
and St. Paul.
out to
Paraclete,
my boy Richie.
Paracletti, tomato. Good game here again. Paraclete has been a C.I.F. champion over and over and over and over again in the O's and in the ones.
Yes.
St. Paul's been trying to get back to the glory days during the Ansich years. Right now they're 4-0. They're a tiny school. Paraclete 1-3. That they played a pretty good schedule. So is St. Paul. Man, this is a toss-up. Could this be the end of the line for St. Paul? I don't know. I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't think so.
They
I
need a
don't think
win.
so
Big
either.
win. Big
They're
win
coming
this
to
one.
the pit.
I'm taking St. Paul in this one.
Yeah, they're
Wow.
coming to
Of
the
course you are.
pit.
I think
gotta
St. Paul
take-
turns the corner here, and
Yeah.
St. Paul's back to being St. Paul of the glory.
Here we go,
years.
Paraclete.
The glory
Paraclete,
years.
man.
How about Paraclete?
It's crazy.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, I guess that's it,
Is
man.
that
It's anticlimactic today. We've had a long week, man. Now it's time to get busy on some other stuff. So, on behalf of Bob Gibson, Mo Orr, Randy Rosenblum, I'm Richard Gray saying so long from your friends here at the SoCal Prep Report. Join us next week.